Okay, so I have attempted to film this video for a long time. A long time. But then I always thought to myself, am I okay with everybody knowing? And then the answer is always no. But then I get to the point where I'm on Google, or I'm on YouTube, searching for other people's diagnosis stories, and I feel so inspired by it. So I am filming my own so that hopefully one day somebody else can see it and be inspired by it. So I feel like there are so many misconceptions to multiple sclerosis that people have. So people either think, oh, no worries, you're fine, no big deal. Or they think, oh my God, you're going to be in a wheelchair and you're going to die in 2 weeks. Like, I think that there are two, like, opposite ends of the scale, and nobody ever thinks about the middle part. So basically in December, I was going through a redundancy at work, and it was really stressful. As much as I wanted a new job anyway, it was still really stressful for me because nobody likes to lose their job. Nobody likes to be told, oh, you've got X amount of time left before you're gone and you've got no secure income. Nobody likes to be told that. So I didn't apply for a new job at work, but it was still a little bit of time from when we were told, which was in December, until when we finished up, which was in May. But in December, they said to us, oh, you guys are redundant, but we just don't know when. So they were kind of up in the air with the dates and things like that. They didn't really make it very clear to us, which was, I think, the biggest factor for me. So my body handled stress really differently. I'm sorry, I know you can see my front door in my glasses, but I can't do much about it. Everybody's body handles stress differently, and mine handled it in shutdown mode. So basically I started getting really bad headaches, back and forth from a doctor who told me that I had a sinus headache. It felt like my head was going to explode. I couldn't move my eyes side to side without thinking my eyeballs were gonna fall out. It was very horrible. And yeah, he kept telling me I had a sinus headache. I went back to him a few times and he kept saying, you've not been taking the medication long enough. Go away and come back in a few days. So I went to see a different doctor who is my current doctor, and I was wearing sunglasses when I went in with her. So my mum had to drive me to that appointment because I could barely see. My vision was starting to get blurry. Oh my God, I'm not crying, by the way. I just sneezed like 6 times. So as soon as I walked in, this doctor said to me, oh, do you have a migraine? And I was like, no, but that's more legitimate than a stupid sinus headache. And so she was like, okay, what other symptoms do you have? And I said, I don't have a fever or anything. I just have a really, really bad headache behind my eyes, and my feet, for some reason, have pins and needles. And she looked at me and said, do you have any family history of multiple sclerosis? And I was like, no, I've got a headache. I don't have multiple sclerosis. Anyway, so my mum dropped me off at home, and I sat on the couch for a good 20 minutes crying because she had gotten into my head that I had multiple sclerosis. So I was like, well, fuck, like, how did I go in from having a sinus headache to a migraine to multiple sclerosis? Like, that just blows my mind. That's not possible. Anyway, so she sent me in for, well, actually, when I was crying, I called, you know, my partner. I called him and said, she thinks I've got MS. Like, everybody, I was telling everybody that my doctor thinks that I have MS. And they were all like, whoa, calm down. You know, you've literally seen your GP. She hasn't done any tests on you or anything. Just hold on a second. Anyway, so she ended up sending me for a CT scan. That came back fine. And then she went and sent me to the optometrist, which was my little sister's work. So she was the one that did the examination of my eyes. And as soon as she took the pictures of my nerves behind my eyes, she was like, this isn't right. And I was like, what are you talking about? And she grabbed me and dragged me in to see the optometrist, she said he was the best optometrist at her work. So he sat me down, my partner was with me and my little sister, and she just refused to leave. She sat there the whole time. And, you know, my partner said, oh, you know, something about the doctor mentioning MS. And he said, look, normally in these instances, MS would only affect the one eye, not the two. Yeah, so he said MS in these cases generally only affects the one eye, but don't quote me on it because obviously every case is different. So, like, there were so many things that said to me, oh, yeah, you've got MS, and then so many that said to me, no, you don't. And it all just started from my doctor just thinking, hang on a second, you have pins and needles in your feet. Is there any family history? And I believed in my heart for so long that I didn't have MS. And so the optometrist said to me that I had something called intracranial hypertension, but then he said to go see an ophthalmologist just to be safe. So I did. I went and saw an ophthalmologist, and he said, look, it looked as though it was intracranial hypertension, but now that I'm looking at it a little bit closer, it looks like something called bilateral optic neuritis, which is swelling in the optic nerve. So I went back to my GP with the letter that he had given me, and she said, look, go straight to the hospital and see the neurologist department. And that's what I did. So I had blood test after blood test after blood test. You would not believe how many blood tests. I was in the hospital for a week. I had 2 spinal taps. I had CT scans, MRIs, x-rays, blood tests every single day. The first spinal tap I had, they couldn't get deep enough to my spine because apparently my spine was nice and deep. So they had to do a second one under an x-ray or an ultrasound. I don't remember which one. It was in radiology. And then I had a doctor come in, and he was talking to me, and he said, you know, how are you feeling? And I said, yeah, I just want to know what's going on. And he said, oh, well, you know, you've got lesions or you've got spots on your brain, so we're thinking that you could have multiple sclerosis. But, you know, and then just kind of left. And I was like, you've told me this news while I've on my own, my family have gone, and I was a mess. I called Tommy, I started crying, I called my mum, I started crying, then I had phone calls from my sisters because my mum called my sisters, and then I had a phone call from my auntie, and everybody was just trying to, you know, calm me down, and I was just a mess. I was so upset about it, mostly because of the way that this doctor, who had never spoken to me once in my life, just comes in and says, yeah, you've probably got MS, but that's it, okay, bye. And I was like, who the fuck delivers news like that? Like, that's just inhumane. Like, I get it, doctors are meant to be, you know, they can't, you know, feel sympathy or whatever, they've got to deliver news and then, like, piss off. But he was just rude. Anyway, so I had to have steroids in the drip for 5 days, and that was to clear my vision up and lessen the pressure behind my eyes. And it did, it worked fine. I had my vision back within, you know, a week or so. And after that, I came home and I went on a holiday on a cruise for my cousin's wedding. And we were on an island and we were walking around, and I was so hot. The sun was so hot and my legs just went numb and I could not walk at all. And mind you, by this time I hadn't actually seen my neurologist to give me an actual diagnosis properly. He had so I had no idea what was going on, but I had told myself, I had convinced myself that I had MS because that's what everybody had been telling me, and I'd come to terms with it. So I had to go back onto the boat and just cool down because my legs were just numb and I couldn't walk. So the rest of the cruise was fine. I didn't get any other symptoms. I didn't feel anything aside from that one day. And then we come home from the cruise. So I got the letter from my neurology from the doctor saying that I had an appointment at the neurology clinic nearby. And I knew that was my diagnosis, so I confirmed with my GP to say, yeah, this is the letter that I got. And she's like, yeah, that's going to be your diagnosis day. So time goes on. I'm unemployed as of May 18th, and I start a new job on the 29th of May. But my appointment was on the 28th of May. So everyone was like, you're batshit crazy for starting a new job the day after that you are diagnosed. And I was like, no, I just need to throw myself in. I've had 3 months off of work already from sick leave. I just need to busy myself so that I'm distracted. Anyway, we get there. My doctor is lovely. So he knows so much. He's an MS specialist. And he said, he brought up all my, you know, my scans, my x-rays, my MRIs, all of that, all of my results. And he said, look, looking at your results, you've got multiple lesions on your brain and your spine. So I'm going to say that you have multiple sclerosis. And I kind of just went silent. I didn't really know what to say, and I kind of didn't hear what else he had to say. But, you know, my mum was with me and my partner were with me, so they were both asking questions. But my mum sat there for a long time covering her face because she didn't want me to see that she was upset about it. And I was upset about it too, and I still do get upset about it sometimes, but most of the time I'm all right with it now because it's my new reality. I can't change it. I just have to do whatever I can to better myself, and that's my plan. So they were asking questions about treatment and what the next steps were and all of that. So if I didn't have them there, I would have just sat there in silence and he would have been like, hello. So I'm really thankful that they came with me. And then, you know, my sister was messaging me like, oh no, I messaged my older sister and my younger sister, I think, and just said, it's as we expected. That's all that I said. Cryptic and probably cruel of me to say, but my older sister called me straight away and she was hounding me with questions, asking me so many things, and I just kind of sat there like, yep, because I just didn't really know what to say. And, you know, all my family are so supportive of me, and if there are things that I can't do, then they understand that I don't ask questions. I'll just, yep, cool, no worries. It's just little things that affect me, which I'm grateful for, because obviously I know that a lot of people have it different. But I hate that there's such a misconception about it because, you know, as I said at the start, people think that you either got one end of it or you've either got another. But with treatment and medication and technology and everything these days, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a cure in the next 10 years. And that's all that we can hope for, because it'd be nice. But if there's not, you know, people have been living with it for such a long time. I think in Australia there are only about 25,000 people that have multiple sclerosis, which isn't that many people considering there's like millions and millions of us here. So I think that it is what it is. You can't change it. And obviously I would change it if I could, but to me it's a blessing in disguise as well, because it's made me view life in such a different way. It's made me appreciate so many things. Like, I appreciate my vision so much more. I wear glasses, yes, but they're for focusing on the computer and things like that. But when I had the steroids, I was I don't know, I could see far, but I couldn't see close. No, vice versa. I could see close, but I couldn't see far. But now my optometrist says that I've got 20/20 vision now. I just need my glasses to focus. So I appreciate so many things, and my vision is one of them, because I lost it completely for a week. I wake up every day thankful that I can feel my legs, I can move my arms, I can walk, I can run, I can, you know, do all sorts of things. And yes, it is only mild, but, you know, we don't know what it'll turn out to be. But, you know, my neurologist seems quite happy with my progress. Every time I go and see him, he, you know, does neurological tests and things like that. And he says, yep, great, good all the time. So, I mean, I'm happy. I'm as happy as I can be for somebody who has MS. I don't feel sad about it anymore. I think I've kind of come to terms with it. And normally when I tell somebody, or when somebody asks me, I'll get a little bit teary when I mention it. But it's not that I'm sad about it. It's just that I'm just not used to talking about it to anybody that's not my family or one of my best friends. So, yeah, that's it. That's my life. I don't know. This is probably going to be on YouTube. If you're inspired by my video, then thank you. If you want to know anything about MS, or if you've got any questions for me about any symptoms that I get, or anything that I can't do or can do, then just message me or comment Or if you just want to say hey, then say hey. But I know so many people message me to say, hey, do you mind if I ask what's wrong? And at the same time, like, obviously, if you follow me on Twitter or Instagram, I do post about it regularly, but I never mention what it is because I wasn't ready to. But I just thought, you're never going to be ready, so you better just do it. Rip off the Band-Aid. And that's what I've done. That's what I've done. So yeah, it's going to take a lot of balls for me to upload this. But if I manage to, then yay me. All right, I'm going to go. But thank you. If you've gotten to the end of this video, thank you very much for watching. And yeah.